Hello everyone, Umber Ray's here today to, talk about finally, I have been waiting for some news to talk about on both the JP and the global side, and finally today the drought has ended, so we can talk about that. But first of all, gotta just talk about the elephant in the room. I gotta really thank everyone out there for sending me so many heartfelt wishes and concern about me quitting Arena. I know there was a lot of people thinking that I was a little NACL, but as you can see, I'm perfectly fine. I'm actually doing really good. I'm enjoying my time outside of Arena. I like my extra 10 minutes per day. I don't have to put up with it, and somehow I'm surviving without the 40 lapis per day. So I just want to thank everyone for their concern. It is just like the song by Destiny's Child. If you haven't heard of that group, then you're probably too young, but well, you can go look it up because the internet exists. But as the lyric said in that, I don't think you're ready for this jelly. I don't think you're ready for this jelly. I don't think you're ready for this, 'cause my body too bootylicious for you, babe. Ah, 'tis a beautiful piece of music. Anyway, continuing on, let's talk about the news on the JP side, starting with what I have to assume is basically Alim having, because of the holidays, as well as trying to put out a CG every month, we are getting the first ever, I think, repeat of a Final Fantasy Brave Exvius story event. We are getting the repeat of the Hyoh event, and let me tell you something, man. A lot of people have said that this is pretty lazy already, and I'm tendingly kind of to agree with it. Interestingly, you can still obtain the rewards even if you previously cleared it, but this really just feels like Alim had no time to make a new story event or new characters or anything like that. And probably, I mean, ever since Bart's was talked about, and they said that they were having a hard time getting Bart's ready to come out by the time that they wanted him out, this just feels like, well, now we're kind of seeing the culmination of it with just a repeat story event. Feels, I guess you could say it's lazy. In general, it's just a repeat of an event. If the difficulty is the exact same as before, then okay. But yeah, nothing super exciting about this at all. And speaking of not being exciting at all, say hello to the banner with 0 new units. We have a 10% rainbow banner with Tifa, Hyoh, and Crimson. Now, I'm just going to say this right now. Nothing about this is, again, really that exciting. Now, these 3 units are the units that are getting enhancements, and we'll talk about those enhancements in a second. But, yeah, when it comes right down to it, this isn't exactly the greatest banner unless you're a fan of these units. These units are pretty non-meta and this isn't even a banner I can say is great for new players, because essentially you're going to need to enhance these characters at some point, even with a 10% rainbow banner. And the 5 stars are even limited to Hyoh, Crimson, and Tifa. You can go 10 rounds at 5,000 lapis per each one. 3 to 4 star units are limited to selected units. I don't think that this is any kind of exciting banner at all, so I guess it's just a good chance for people to save up lapis. So good news on that. Now we get into the enhancements. So let's start with the one that is the easiest to review, Crimson. Crimson was never a meta powerful unit. Even when he did come out, he was just kind of a subpar axe star for some reasons. And looking at his enhancements, that he's still going to be a subpar unit in terms of the DPS category. He gets some extra abilities, a lot of demon killer. I mean, this guy really, really hates demons, so that may be the one place that he can shine, but yeah, this one's pretty easy to pass on. If there is a demon in the future or a demon trial, then Crimson will probably dish out a fair amount of extra damage. But I don't think it's anything worth getting too exciting or spending the enhancement resources on this. Crimson buddy, I actually generally kind of like you, but nothing here super exciting. Scrolling up, we have Tifa next, and Tifa is actually quite a bit better. Mainly because she, for her cheerleader ability, gets basically every status immunity in the game. No stop or charm immunity, but you gotta draw the line somewhere. Her water in peril also on her dolphin blow will go up to 120%. That's pretty big. Finding a water chainer can be a little bit difficult with holy explosion frames. At least from what I can remember, without putting a water weapon on someone or having to water imbue or do some kind of trickety trick. But Tifa having 120% water debuff is actually pretty cool. And it's on the ability that gives water to her attacks. Tifa also gets quite a bit of other stuff. She gets kind of boosted to up to, I believe, 50% true dual wield. More passives, which she kind of needed. More MP passives. As well as some extra modifiers for her 7th Heaven and Final Heaven, which can get a pretty big modifier because she gets the chain damage cap up for true dual wielders, meaning she can hit the 200% true dual wield. Also, I need to up the heat in my apartment. Ooh, just makes me shake and shiver. Anyway. Yeah, she gets extra passives, which is generally good for her. It will make her considerably stronger. She is still going to be she'll most likely still be nowhere near what Lightning or Bartz can do. So if you're a fan of Tifa, good news, she becomes way better into the future, but at the same time, probably not enough to compete. Probably worth some testing. I think her chain modifier can get up to about a 36 times on her Final Heaven. That is something to be, pretty amazed about, but I don't know. I'll probably enhance her because I like Tifa anyway. And then our last is Hyoh. The Hyoh definitely got the best enhancements of the bunch, or at least the best obvious, as everybody's already kind of freaking out about him. One thing he gets is a new cooldown ability that increases, gives him triple cast for 2 turns, a 200% attack boost, 100%... Oh wait, no, sorry, I'm reading the wrong one. My bad. By removing his spirit bonus, which was not that great to begin with, let's be honest, he gets a 5-turn cooldown, self, man killer, limit burst gauge up, and limit burst damage up. While a lot of people are freaking about his chain modifiers, I think this is probably the biggest thing. Hyoh's limit burst has always been, very, very strong, and with some of the other enhancements he gets, he should be really, 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 really good. Again, his limit burst damage up, it depends on the percentage, but it could be interesting. And just giving him a limit burst and man killer, like man killer was probably the really big thing in this equation. But again, it will only be on humans, so if the enemy's not human, then you're not getting much out of it. What else do you get? Extra passives, triple blade for 4 turns on his recovery and attack boost. Also, that attack boost goes up to 250% attack returns. Mysterious Swordsman gets extra true dual hand, and this is kind of important because Hyoh's going to have a lot of passives for attack, both true dual hand as well as regular attack. You should hit the cap pretty easy, meaning that you can focus on other stats. I do believe he will have 200% true dual wield naturally in his kit, so he's pretty easy to build for a true dual wielder, but the counterpoint to that is true dual wield isn't meta. So, Servant of the Blade gets extra modifiers, and Flame and Voltage Blades not only get a bigger debuff, now being at 80% total debuff for their respective element, but also imbue their own element as well. So Flame Blade gives Flame, Thunder Blade gives Thunder. Basically, the 2 biggest things that were always a complaint about Hyoh have kind of been addressed. And Actually, my arm is just getting tired. Oh, yeah. If you couldn't figure it out, it was a joke, you guys. Anyway, talking about Hyoh for a second, it's also warmer up here. Hyoh's enhancements are definitely unquestionably good. He can get a really nice modifier on his chaining damage and probably can dish out really good limit burst damage, again, comparatively to what else is out there. However, you should make no mistake about this. CG Bartz and CG Lightning are still ahead of Hyoh by a considerable amount. And not only, well, I say a considerable amount in that it's enough that it matters. And they don't have enhancements yet. That's the other big thing. This is Hyoh kind of putting himself back up. The chain damager that he would probably be most comparative to right now on the JP side is Sora. Definitely impressive, but Sora didn't beat CG Lightning or Bartz even close. And now it's going, and here it's the same thing. Also, Hyoh's debuffs just aren't strong enough to stand on his own if you consider that CG Lightning has 120% Thunder debuff, and their frames don't match, as Hyoh is a Holy Explosion chainer and Lightning is an AT chainer for the most part. So, yeah, looking at comparing, this guy to the top DPS on JP, this is a really, really, really good boost to Hyoh, and I'm sure that there will be people out there doing content with him again, but at the same time, if you already have some of the CG units, there is no reason to enhance Hyoh. The other problem that I have with recommending enhancing Hyoh is that his enhancements are probably going to be ridiculously expensive for Gil. If you look at it, he has 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 enhancements. And most of those enhancements are strong enough that they're probably going to cost 1 million gil each, as well as a considerable amount of stones. Again, the easier, cheaper method here is just to have CG Lightning or Bartz, funnily enough. Hyoh is wasn't particularly meta, and he definitely goes up a peg, but he isn't going to be top tier. Not even close. True dual wield still rules by a long shot. So, yes, if you're a fan of any of these units, these enhancements are all good. Except kind of Crimson. Crimson's just seem pretty mediocre and Demon Killer focused. Tifa probably has a much stronger chance to shine than Hyoh in terms of chain damage, because the true dual wield chain cap is a big deal for a unit, and Tifa was already pretty strong already. Now she's just going to have, stronger chaining with elemental chaining, and she can debuff water 120%. It's just that she doesn't quite fit into the type of chaining families that are very popular right now, which is AT chaining. The strongest damage dealers on the Japanese side are all AT chainers. So Tifa being Holy Explosion is just kind of okay. The other thing is that her enhancements and element don't match Hyoh, who is a Holy Explosion chainer, but again, Tifa doesn't have triple cast, so Tifa will probably fall short, and Hyoh will fall short because true dual hand is not the priority on the JP side. So, maybe keep it a little bit calm and don't freak out too much. These are great enhancements, but they're undoubtedly going to be expensive, and they're undoubtedly just not enough to the argument of, well, CG protagonists are way better. And again, that kind of makes sense. Alim doesn't want to make Hyoh better than the CG protagonists that are currently their bread and butter. Also getting more focus on them. But that is not all. Say hello to your new nightmare. It is that robot. He's back in a Kai version. And let's talk about this for a second, because a couple of months ago, or however many months ago on a live stream, Alim talked a little bit about this trial. They talked about the Kai version early, and they said, well, currently, given what JP players can do, they are not remotely ready for this challenge. Paraphrasing a little bit, but the general idea. This guy was supposed to be incredibly strong. This is scary. This is scary because Blood Moon Kai has been very difficult, and Shinryu has also been an incredibly difficult trial for a lot of people. Now, apparently this is going to be this might just be by far the strongest trial ever, even with all the stuff that we currently have on the JP side, which is interesting, I guess, but it's also terrifying, and if you haven't beat Blood Moon or Shinryu, then there's probably not much point in giving a shot at this guy. I doubt they made him weak. But no news on what the rewards are yet, or anything. We'll have to wait, I guess, for the data mine. And speaking of that, that will be happening on Friday here on the JP side. It is a 3-hour maintenance, which kind of makes sense for this lack amount of content into the game. Just some enhancements. It is nice to see Hyoh get enhancements, but a repeat of his story event, regardless of whether the rewards are repeatable or not, feels kind of lackluster at this point. The JP side has been, most people have already finished farming FF6, I know I have, and it's just kind of, was hoping for something new, something, you know, maybe interesting, but I guess, hey, it's good news for everybody. You can save enhancement stones, you can save money, you can save, well, Gil, you can also save money by not having to pull on any of this, and you can just keep going as usual. So that's all for now. I hope you're doing well, and I'll see you next time.